Hi, everybody, and welcome to I Like Cruise Ships, the YouTube channel, and welcome to a Sunday live stream, live from my kitchen here in Moscow, Russia. I want to welcome everybody to the live stream. I see we've got lots of people already live here in the chat and live at home watching. We have kind of promoted this kind of well today. So we do have a very special guest today. I will go through some of the comments in a little bit of who's already here, and maybe more people will join slowly once they get their notifications. So now today we have a super cruiser from Carnival Cruise Lines ships, and he's cruised on other cruise lines as well. I'm going to welcome to the chat Neil Russo. So everybody in the chat, say hello to Neil. How are we going, Neil?
Hey, Russell, how you doing?
Very well. All right, so we're going to choose, I think, this one. This is the one that we just had a few seconds ago. So yeah, everybody, this is Neil. He's kind of, I would consider him a super cruiser or a double diamond deluxe, whatever the wording we want to use. Are you actually diamond on Carnival?
No, I'm not yet. It's we take a lot of cruises, but I'm still about 75. Well, once I get done with the cruises I have booked, I'm still about 14 days short of diamond.
Oh, so you're platinum?
Yes.
And then the diamond is the kind of next milestone that you're aiming for, right? So
the highest one they have as of now, but who knows, they may change that down the road.
Yeah, right. So basically, everybody that's live in the chat today, we're going to chat about cruising in 2022, and we're going to talk about what it's like to cruise, let's say, during the pandemic, during this Omicron. We're not really going to talk too much about that situation because that's what it is. We're now almost 2 years into it. But I think we'll just talk about what the different influences are on it that's affecting the cruising right now. So Neil, maybe you want to just talk about maybe a little bit about yourself up to this point, about how many cruises maybe you've done, and what your current plans are.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we are, avid. My wife and I are avid cruising, Carnival cruisers. We've done, I think, 20 Carnival cruises so far. I've done some other lines as well, so I probably got about 30 cruises under my belt. We have 6 more booked over the next couple of years. Our next one is in about 4 weeks. We'll be on the Mardi Gras for Celebration, and that whole downtime during the virus and the pandemic, we had, I think, a total of 14 cruises canceled. Every time one canceled, we book another, and because they were canceling a month by month, and we wound up going, 18 months without a cruise, and we were pretty much going stir crazy like most of the people. So we definitely missed it while it was gone, but we were there on the first one that came back out of Miami on the Carnival Horizon on July 4th. And we did our Christmas cruise this year over the Magic, and then next month we'll be on the Mardi Gras. So we're back full swing and cruising like bandits.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Wow. So a lot of cruises. So you've kind of, should I call it that you've suffered through this 2 years, or you've just kind of dealt with it, I guess? I don't know which is the right wording. I guess everyone's going to have a different interpretation of what's happened. Roughly in March, we're at about 2 years, right? So would you say you've suffered through this, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a combination of both. I mean, we suffered through it, but, what are you going to do? I mean, it's out of our hands. It's, out of our control. So we just made the best of it. We, took a land-based vacation when we could over the summer of last year. And, we spent Christmas at home last year. It was the first time in 9 years we weren't on a ship for Christmas. So that was kind of weird having to, do Christmas at home again. But, it is what it is. And we got through it, and we're back. And, we've got a little bit more restrictions on us right now, but hopefully it's only temporary. But, like they say, the fun is back, and we're looking forward to getting back on the ship again next month.
Right, yeah. So we've got a few people here in the chat already, so I'll just go through a couple of these quick comments, and then also if anyone has any questions who maybe plan to take a cruise, put them in the comments. Of course, we'll ask each other questions back and forward. I'm pretty sure between us we don't need any extra comments, but I'm sure we'll be welcoming any of those. Bevel Cruising, hello Russell, and everyone, good morning from San Francisco Bay Area, where it's currently 47 Fahrenheit. 9 a.m. So, Neil, you're in Pennsylvania? correct?
Yeah, I'm in Northeast Pennsylvania, and we just got through our ice storm over the last 24 hours. It's everything's covered in snow and ice, and it's about 10 degrees here Fahrenheit.
Okay. So yeah, a little bit colder. Even cold, of course. San Francisco been on the West Coast. Good morning from Reno, Nevada. Holy Man, is it Holloman Ranch? Holy Man
Yeah,
Ranch?
that's our good cruising friends Lisa and Bob.
Oh, okay, perfect. So we've got some of your friends in, and pretty much everybody that you know. We've got Bahia E. Good morning from Texas.
Yeah, Bahar and his family are avid Carnival cruisers as well. They are great people and a lot of fun to sail with, and be looking forward to seeing them next year again on the Iceland cruise.
Oh, right, yeah, of course. And then Steve. Oh, good morning from Seattle. So Steve Herban.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Steve is one of the proprietors, along with Michael Filson, of the Alchemy Bar Drinking Society Facebook page, which we have a lot of fun on. And I'll tell you what, during the pandemic and the
Mm-hmm.
shutdown, we did several lives on that Facebook page with a lot of the alchemists from Carnival from their homes. And it was great doing that. And, it's a big group of us. We're big alchemy enthusiasts. And even with that said, I can't wait to try the Fortune Teller Bar next month for the first time. So that's another page that they started. So we got that and the Fortune Teller Drinking Society. So for all you
So
hardcore
do
like me,
do you know how it differs then, the Alchemy Bar from Fortune Tellers?
Well, all I know is from what I've seen so far. I mean, it's pretty much the same bartenders, the alchemists that work the Fortune Teller Bar. So it's the same people. So it's going to be the same fun. But the drink menu is varied quite a bit. If you look up the drink menu for Fortune Teller Bar, there's quite an array of different drinks that you won't find anywhere else, like the Crystal Ball and the Galaxy and all these other specialty cocktails that they came up with that look absolutely amazing. And I can't wait to put my Cheers package to work next month.
Steve says hello to you there as well. Babel Cruising, she's been in some other live streams as well. Daralia, I always say Daralia. We have Daralie chocolate in Australia, and I keep thinking of Daralie chocolate. So when you cruise during Christmas, does Santa Claus stop on the ship?
He absolutely does. They turn the engines off so he can come down the funnel for the kids, and shows up in the atrium and all around the ship. So yeah, it's a lot of fun seeing Santa on the ships.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. This is not really cruiser related, but I posted a photo on my Facebook just before Christmas of the shopping center here in Moscow. I took a photo with a Santa at the shopping center, and he was the skinniest Santa Claus. It was such a funny sort of experience because he has like the big Santa's chair where he was sitting, like come and sit down on his lap sort of thing. And I almost like squashed him.
Well, times are tough, Russell. They can't eat like they used to, so he had to lose a few pounds.
Yeah. And Daryl's in New York City, 27 degrees in New York. So, there you go. That's a little bit close to you. Mm-hmm. Sorry, we had a bit of feedback there. Good afternoon from Atlanta. Hello to all my friends who are watching us. Christy Steve 24.
So yeah, I got to give a big shout out to Christy. That's Christy Wagner, who is the Rockstar Travel Agent for Carnival. She's like one of the top 3 or top 2 producers every year for Carnival, and she takes care of all my cruises. She is amazing, and anything you need, look her up. I think it's Cruises with Group. I can't remember the exact Facebook page, but I'm sure she'll yell at me for that and put it on here anyway. But yeah, she's awesome.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, this is sort of good. I like all this feedback. Where are we there? Oh, sorry. Daryl was a big component of me getting this microphone, by the way. He did a couple of super chats or super stickers at some point. And I talked about having a microphone fund. And I was sort of just tired to wait for it. So I just went out and bought it and got it. And so, yeah, big shout out to Daryl for that. Oh, you've disappeared. Oh, no, you're back again. Oh, hang on a second. I'm going too fast here. Good afternoon from Atlanta. Oh, hello. We got that one already out the way. Oh gosh, come on.
Oh,
What's going on?
yeah, you're right, Bahar. It is this year. I'm so used to saying next year, because that cruise has been canceled so many darn times on us that I forget that it is this July, and then next year we're doing the Greenland one.
Yes. So yeah, so Bahia says it's this year, the Iceland cruise in 5 months. So that's not too far away, really.
No, we back this year. Well, with all the cruises we had canceled during the pandemic, we just kept rolling them over, and then we'd add, a specialty cruise. So now, like this year is like my busiest year. I'm going to have 5 cruises this year. So like, we got off of the Magic on the first week of January, and then 8-week turnaround. We're going on to the Mardi Gras, and then we got about I think a 4-month turnaround after that when we get on fly over to London to go get the Pride to do the Iceland cruise, and then when we come back for that, we're back on a Christmas cruise on the Freedom out of Miami.
Wow. Daryl says there that skinny Santa Claus times are hard, right? Yeah, I don't know about the guy that in Moscow. It was just very funny because he didn't really know any English either. I guess you guys know each other here. So Hollyman Ranch saying hello to Christy.
Yep.
Cruising with group bookings is the page?
Yeah, that's her Facebook page. That's the one I was struggling with the name. But I knew she'd post it. But if she does really well on there, and that's her Facebook page. That if anybody needs a rock star travel agent, that's where you contact her through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe post the link in the description if you want to. We can send, then a lot of people can click over to it. Edward Patterson says hi there.
Well, Russell,
sure.
you know who this is. You know who Mr. Ed Patterson is. The Ed Patterson.
Is this the guy
that has 2,000 days on Carnival?
Right. Yeah, Ed. Okay, now I'm thinking of this right name. So, and we got Cricket. I'm not sure. Is more of your friends or family?
It could be. I'm not familiar with that one.
It's a nice dog there in the picture.
Yeah.
So yeah, if anybody wants to ask questions, go for it. Neil, have you cruised on Panorama? If so, what do you think of her?
I did. We actually did a back-to-back on Panorama for Christmas and New Year's of 2019. It was right before the shutdown. And it was, I think, the 3rd and 4th sailings of Panorama. And we loved it. I've been on all the Vista class ships. We did the Carnival Vista in the Mediterranean. I think it was the 7th sailing of her we did over there. Did the inaugural on Horizon in the Med, and then the 3rd and 4th sailing of Panorama over here. And I absolutely love the Vista class ships. I love the way they're set up. So Panorama is pretty much no different than Horizon, which is our favorite ship. So yeah, you cannot not have a good time on Panorama. So if you're thinking about going on a good new ship, that's the one to go on out there on the West Coast.
Yeah, I guess one of the small differences would be the IMAX Theater versus the trampoline park.
Yeah, that's the only Vista class ship that doesn't have the IMAX Theater. They have the Sky Zone jumping trampoline park, which the kids absolutely love. My son had a blast in it, and again, minimal charges. I think it was like a few dollars, and they got whatever it was, an hour or 2-hour session in it. And yeah, it's a lot of fun for the kids. And they do have adult parties too at night too. You can do adult jumping as well.
Oh, Cricket says Michelle here. Hey, maybe you know.
Oh, okay. So yeah, now I know who that is. That's Michelle, my other cruising wife. So I have my wife here at home, and then Michelle and Christy are my cruising wives. Yeah.
How many? So sometimes you're on a cruise with multiple wives.
Yeah, it gets expensive.
No doubt. Imagine how many divorces you're gonna have.
Well, they all make more money than me, so I'm set for life.
So now, one of the main questions which we posed for the start of this live stream was to talk about how cruising has kind of changed, I guess, prior to, let's call it, pandemic times. So you took a cruise on the Magic recently. What's a few things that you noticed that's, let's say, visibly different or is different from cruising before that?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a few, but they're very subtle. I mean, it's, nothing you don't know going in. And I'll even go back another step because when we were on the horizon in July for the restart, we had certain protocols that we had to follow there, but it wasn't as stringent. We were lucky that we didn't have to do the pre-cruise testing. We didn't have to wear masks at all on the ship. But the sanitary and the cleaning never stops. It's just insanely ridiculous how hard these crew members work to keep everything clean. And then on the Magic, obviously, we had to do the testing 48 hours before we got on board. You have to wear the masks on, when you're inside on the inside venues, unless you're eating or drinking. And there's signs posted everywhere. I mean, every venue from the Ocean Plaza to when you're walking down the hallways, there's little subtle reminders. And I will say one thing, like, I don't want to say that the crew doesn't enforce it, because they do, but they're very friendly about it. Like, I'm just going to do a quick comparison. When we took our land-based vacation during the pandemic, we went to Epcot in Disney the day they reopened, and there was a mask mandate there for an outdoor theme park. We had to wear masks. And every single Disney employee was like yelling at us if my mask was below my nose, or I mean, they're just like pointing fingers and put your mask on. It was ridiculous. You get on the Carnival ship, and if your mask falls down and you forget to put it on, a crew member will look at you and will be like, just real
Mhm.
subtle, won't really point you out, say anything. So it's little subtle stuff like that. I mean, obviously, if you're eating or drinking, you don't wear it, but there's certain areas. And listen, I'll be the first one to tell you, I'm not a mask person. I've been against them since the start, but that's my preference. But when I'm on the ship, I respect the crew and I respect the rules because I want to cruise. So yes, I do wear it when I have to wear it. When I don't, it comes right off and goes in my pocket. Um, so another thing too is like the testing.
Right. So yeah. Mhm.
So
Yeah,
we
right.
got to
I was
do.
just going to ask you about that. So there we go.
Yeah.
Now you no, go for it. Talk away about the testing part.
So we did the matter of fact, I even have one here because we've got one coming up in Mardi Gras. So this one is the one that
Oh,
we order. And we actually took these to Florida with us. You just scan the little QR code down here. You put the app on your phone, and when you're ready to test, you just hit the app. After you fill in your information, get it all done. You hit the app, a live person comes on, they'll tell you to open it, they'll tell you what to do. They walk you through the procedure. It's like boom, 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 put it in the thing, and then they go off for 15 minutes. The timer counts down at the end of 15 minutes. When you're ready, the results are there in front of you, and they come back online with you. You show them the results, and they verify that whether it's positive, negative, or nothing detected. And within like 5 minutes, we had the emails, and it's right there on the app, or you can print out the emails and you just take them to the cruise terminal with you, and it was really easy. So we decided to do these again, and I have them ready for Mardi Gras for next month.
okay. So now, and how would you compare those testing kits to, let's say, going to a pharmacy or to a clinic? How would you compare doing that?
So the funny thing is I can't compare because when we took
No.
our COVID test for the Magic, that's the first COVID test I ever had. I
Okay.
Before, I never felt the need to do one. So it was literally the first time I ever did a COVID test. But now my son, being school age, we had to take him through the drive-through pharmacy to take him. And I remember, he would have to do, the Q-tip up the nose, and they had like, he went, pretty far. They wanted you to go. But this one, it's like you literally just do the inside of your nose right here. You're not like jabbing your brain or your eyeballs or anything. And you do one, swirl it around a couple times, do the other one, swirl it around, and put it in the thing, and it starts reading right away.
All right, we're going to jump away a little bit for a second. Daryl's got a question. Neil, why aren't there more Carnival cruises from New York City, and why don't they cruise during winter? Pretty sure you should
Yeah,
know this answer.
I always wondered about that too because I love sailing out of New York. But Carnival just has their seasons with their ships that like they do in Alaska season during the summer, they do the New York season. I guess if I had to guess, I would say, when you're cruising out of New York, there's limited ports you're going to go to. I mean, you're going to go to Bermuda, you're going to go to the Bahamas, you may get down to Amber Cove, Grand Turk, but unless you're doing a Journeys cruise, they're really not going to go any farther than that for a 7 day. Most of them are 7 day, maybe the occasional 8 day. and then the 3 and 4 days to Bermuda. So obviously, it's just too cold in the winter up here. I mean, Daryl being from New York and trying to have people come into the city and everything during the winter time, I just don't think the market is there. But yet I do know other cruise ships sail out of there, but I haven't really looked at their itineraries to see if maybe they're doing longer cruises or transatlantics. But yeah, being that New York is my closest home port, man, I would love to have a ship, Carnival ship in New York all year round.
Good answer. Yeah. So yeah, I think one of the factors is that those couple of days going south from New York to get down to the Caribbean or the Bahamas, and those 2 days, let's say, going north where there's that weather effect. So whether they factor that a lot into the guest experience of the cruise, I think that's probably another factor why they don't have year-round sailing.
Yeah, good point. I mean, the seas are rough and there's a lot of storms and the nor'easters that come up that would make, sailing out of New York, in and out of New York, very rough.
Bear Bull says here, yeah, Neil, thanks. I failed on Panorama a few weeks after you did January 20 of 2020. An amazing time. Shape is beautiful. I mostly sail on Carnival out of the West Coast and twice out of New Orleans.
I think that's supposed to be thanks I sailed on Panorama.
A few weeks after, right? Right. Okay, understand. So I guess she's asking for what your feedback is versus maybe her cruising. Yeah, right. Bebel has a YouTube channel, and I've helped her a little bit with her basics of her YouTube. And she did post some short videos on there on Panorama. So just for me, I can't work on Panorama. The shop company I work for, you know this, Neil. Carnival is now experimenting with different concessionaires that operate the shops on board. So on Panorama, Vista, actually on the Mardi Gras that you'll be going on, it's a different company that operate the shops to Horizon, Dream, Magic. It's a little bit all over the place. Coming up now with the ships switching around, like with the Spirit coming back to the US, I'm not sure if the companies will switch around as well. That will be interesting. Yeah, actually, I'll just ask you a question about that. So I guess you kind of know the story about the Carnival Spirit coming back to Jacksonville, Florida. Possibly the Splendor will come back and do some sort of an itinerary. It's not announced yet. So what do you think about all of that?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me with no Australian cruising on the horizon anytime soon. Those ships cost a lot of money just to sit there in Dubai and, run empty. So they got to do something. And, I figured they'd be phasing out more of the fantasy class ships. And, listen, I was on the Imagination. I was on the Ecstasy. I did a couple of the fantasy class. And don't get me wrong, they're beautiful ships. I love them. But, the way the market is, bigger and better. And they got to, put more people on a ship and generate more revenue. So, it is strictly a business decision. And I understand that. But it is sad because, those smaller ships, when I first started cruising in the early 90s, the first ship I went on had 800 passengers. And that was the capacity. And I absolutely loved it. It was great. I mean, not that you don't get to know the crew or they get to know you, on today's ships. But back then it was like, they knew you, they knew your, name, that you'd see them, your dining room waiter, maybe your bar waiter up on the, the pool side and everything. So it's, I'm going to miss those small ships. They're great little ships.
Yeah, the crew, I mean, I'll also say it from a crew point of view as well. I mean, with the older ships having less than 1,000 crew, I think it's about 900 on fantasy class. And then now the Mardi on 2,000 crew, it's 1,000. I don't know how many it is, but some crew don't even know each other as much. I mean, it's not expected that everybody on board, but members, let alone amongst crew and guests.
Yeah, the intimacy is lost with the smaller ships and the smaller crews.
Yeah. Daryl says there, I do not mind taking 2 days to get down to Florida. So he likes his sea days, I guess. That's what he's talking about there.
Oh yeah, I love the sea days too. I mean, especially now at the Caribbean, it's like we don't hardly even get off the ship anymore. you know, especially with Mardi Gras, you know, we've been to all these ports, and being that this will be my first trip on Mardi Gras, I'm just going to spend every minute enjoying that ship. So we probably won't
Yeah.
get off in Cozumel just to do a little shopping, but that'll be about it.
Oh, Babel wants you to show your testing kit again. Maybe you can bring that into shot and just let us know maybe the brand if you know the name or where you bought it from, things like that.
So it's Abbott, the Binax Now COVID-19. I have a couple of different ones, but the one that says AG card is the one that's accepted from Carnival. There might be others. I'm not sure. I just know this one is. And I got it from a website called the Optum Store is where I bought them from. And it was, I think it was like a 3-pack, and it was like $99 for the 3-pack, which is pretty comparable to, you know, any other testing that I've looked at out there, test kits. The biggest thing is just, you know, make sure that whatever test kit you get is accepted by the cruise agencies, and go on Carnival's website. It's all spelled out there with a bullet list. You know, just make sure that the test kit is acceptable. Otherwise you wind up doing the wrong one and they turn you away, and we don't want that to happen.
So the one you've got there is not something you can buy in a retail store. It has to be only online.
You know, I don't know if you can or not. Maybe somebody out there that has used these would know. I know that I've seen other testing kits in the pharmacies here. I just normally buy everything I do online anyway. I don't hardly go to stores if I don't have to. So it's just natural for me to buy everything online.
I understand. Yeah, I'm not an online shopper. I'm a go to the store kind of shopper. So Daryl says they're Royal Caribbean leaves from Cape Liberty, New Jersey, that the larger Royal Caribbean ships can then make it under the Verrazano Bridge. Right. So cruise terminals in New York. So there's the Manhattan one, which is where the Carnival ships go from.
Yeah.
And then there's Cape Liberty.
Yeah. So Cape Liberty, actually in Bayonne, New Jersey, is where that is. I've seen that. I've been to that port. I haven't sailed out of there, but you know, I've seen the Royal Caribbean ships there, and yeah, and then I think you know, also Norwegian also sails out of New York City, right at the same docks there where Carnival docks, right next to the USS Intrepid.
Right, yeah, and then the third one is Red Hook, Brooklyn, which is where Cunard and I guess Princess probably does their cruising out of, which is Carnival Corporation.
Yeah, you know, I didn't even know about that one. I have to look at that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Red Hook, Brooklyn. You can actually sometimes, when you sail out of New York, you can just sometimes see the ships over there if it's on the same sailing. There's the screen. Oh, there we go. We're back again. Yeah, so Harmony, Symphony, and Oasis. I guess he's referring to the larger ships.
Yeah,
New York. Or that cannot fit under the Verrazano Bridge.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I remember.
I think everybody knows things better.
Yeah, I remember the first time we sailed out of New York on the Horizon, and going under that bridge. You know, we even being up top on the horizon, it was pretty close. So I couldn't imagine that any of those mega ships being able to make it under there. And it's a little bit of a tight fit.
So I've not done the sailing in Europe, but the old Norwegian Dream, actually had a funnel that flipped sideways to go under a bridge in Germany. I think it was Germany. There was a certain bridge that it couldn't pass under, and they intentionally put a hinge on the funnel, and then they would hinge it back over once it got out under that bridge.
Nice.
I can't remember any part about this where it is, but it's a very old. I mean, we're talking about 20 years ago now. It's not something they would probably do on modern ships. I do believe, is it Royal Caribbean, where the actual smokestack retracts? Have you heard about that?
No, I have to look that
into the funnel. Yeah, you'll have to Google it. Maybe I'm almost certain it's a Royal Caribbean ship that does that. And the funnel mechanism, there's a part of it that comes down slightly to get under certain bridges and so on. What are some of the best restaurants on Mardi Gras? So I'm wondering, Daryl, if you, sorry, Neil, if you've done any kind of planning ahead of time for Mardi Gras.
Oh yeah, well, you know, Christy, who's on, has been on Mardi Gras, I think, 3 times, and so we talk quite intensely. You know, I watch everything. about it. So yeah, we pretty much like, normally, when you go on a ship and you're planning your excursions, I've already started planning every meal for every day because I want to hit every one of those restaurants on there. I mean, I think we've got 2 reservations already at Chibang. We have a reservation. We're doing the chef's table. Definitely want to hit up, Emerald's for lunch or breakfast, and then do Cucina for breakfast, and Shaq's Chicken. Probably going to hit that as soon as we get on board. I think the only one that we're not doing is Rudy's Sea Grill, only because and I do love seafood. I didn't find his menu that interesting enough to want to go there. So we're probably going to bypass Rudy's Sea Grill. I mean, it might change. I don't know if I find that I still have a whole bunch of onboard credit left over, I might see if I can get a reservation and try it out. But I think we're pretty much hitting everything else on there. But I'm really looking forward to Chibang.
Sure. Okay. So yeah, this is the one thing that's I think going to become more of a factor with the Mardi Gras and then Celebration and Jubilee, which is what Royal Caribbean has done with their bigger ships. They're making the ships more the destination versus you going on a cruise to the ports. And they're giving you a lot more things to do on board and stay on board wise versus a reason to get off in the ports.
Yeah, and I can totally agree with that because, people like me, and there's a lot of us out there, that are frequent cruisers. Like, how many times can you keep going to the same ports all the time in the Caribbean? It's like, so having the ship and so much to do on the ship is like you said, it's a destination itself. I can't wait to get on that roller coaster and, zoom around that thing, and, can't wait to just, walk around and see everything else. But it's exciting.
Yeah, Daryl says there, I've heard on Cunard that you can bring a dog. Is that true?
Never been on Cunard, but I know, Carnival does allow service dogs. I have a friend of mine that we cruise together, and she actually has a certified service dog that she brings on the ship. And I've seen a couple of other ones in recent cruises. They have to meet a certain criteria. They have to be certified or accredited or whatever the proper terminology is for a service dog. But yeah, they do allow them on the ships, and I've seen them on Carnival ships too.
Now, just to answer Daryl's question, it is completely true. Cunard does have kennels on board, and you can bring your cat or dog on board for transatlantic crossings. You can't have the cat and dog in your cabin or in the dining room. They are kept in kennels. You can go up and visit them. There is a crew member assigned, I guess, as a animal handler, I guess. And they've got actually a fire hydrant as a peeing pole. This is all completely true. So yes, Daryl, if you do want to do the transatlantic from New York to London, you don't sort of see your pet as much as I think you think you do. I'm pretty sure the crew member that takes care of them is a lot closer to your pet than what you would be. So Edward says Rudy's is really good. Ate there 3 times.
Yeah, I should have asked Ed. Right. I know Ed is a frequent of all the specialty restaurants on there. So yeah, I may change my mind and go. It's probably going to be one of those ones where I'm not going to reserve it in advance, but I'll check when I'm on board and see what kind of availability they have, and maybe do it one night and check it out.
And then Chrissy says there, the roller coaster Bolt is a ton of fun.
Yeah, I am. What 2 of my favorite things in this entire world are cruising and roller coasters. I travel the country a lot for work, and one of the first things I find is amusement parks, and I look for roller coasters to go on. So
in the same area.
Yeah, when they first announced that they were putting a roller coaster on a cruise ship, it was almost orgasmic for me. It's like, oh my God, 2 favorite things in the whole world are now combined.
And I think they let you do 2 laps. Is that right? Or maybe 3 if it's not busy and things like that.
Yeah, I think it's like 2 laps for $15. But, like I said, we got so much onboard credit to use up that I'll spend a bit of time on that roller coaster.
Oh, Daryl says he'll be on the Mardi Gras August 13. There you go.
Nice.
We've got one more question, and then we'll come back to our questions. I think if you're going to do that, where eventually the ship is your destination, they're going to have more free restaurants. What do you think about that as a...
Well, I think that's why they're doing it now, because, if you remember when Mardi Gras first came out, they said they were going to do the restaurants, certain restaurants like Chibang and Cucina and stuff, that they were going to do them complimentary for the inaugural season. Well, now they've pretty much taken the inaugural season part of it out of it, and they don't have any plans to start charging for those restaurants. And I think that's a great idea, because one of the biggest concerns that I have with these mega ships, the biggest ships that I've been on with the Vista class prior to this, is that what's going to happen when this ship is at full capacity and there's 6,500 people, that maybe most of them don't want to pay anything, and you're going to have them all in the dining room, all in the Lido buffet. So keeping those other options free, I think, is a smart move for Carnival to keep people spread out on the ship and minimize the lines and the waiting. Because when they start sailing again at full capacity, I think that's going to be a real issue if they don't have these options complimentary.
Yeah, I guess I think a factor of that is, like, just talking about that, I mean, the cruise line probably have to assume that a certain amount of people will always just go to the normal early or late seating dining or your time dining. And then they have to kind of expect a certain amount of people to go to paid restaurants or Lido to allow the numbers to disperse, right? I mean, if, like you said, at 6,000 people, I mean, those dining rooms, you'd be waiting and you wouldn't get in.
Yeah, exactly. So, the more options, the better. And they need to keep those as complimentary. That's one of the reasons why I didn't book more on Mardi Gras than just this cruise. I have not booked anything for Celebration. I haven't booked anything for Jubilee, because my concern is being on a ship with 6,500 people and the lines and the crowds and how it's going to flow. So, I know I'll be able to judge it when I get on Mardi Gras, but also it's probably not going to be full capacity. So, we'll see what happens after this cruise, and if I'm going to book any of the big mega ships, then, after that, or just stick with the ones I got.
Yeah. Ed says Telebar.
Yeah.
We're
Froze
jumping
up a
in
little.
and out here.
Yeah, there you go. Ed, I have no doubt. Christy and I were just talking about this last night, and being a religiously frequent Alchemy Bar patron, I mean, I can sit at the Alchemy Bar, and I've done it from an hour before they open till closing time every night. I think on this cruise, it's going to be the same way at Fortune Teller, that I'm probably going to see maybe Alchemy once during the cruise, but I'll be spending a lot of time at the Fortune Teller Bar.
I guess that's one thing that Carnival, I mean, I've not been on Mardi Gras, you haven't either, but this is the one thing that is going to test Carnival going forward. I mean, obviously with Celebration and Jubilee, they're going to want to create new concepts, and it's how they're going to have to create a separation in each concept of the bar, right? And, not just put the bartenders in different uniform and there you go. How that will successfully work the difference.
Yeah, I wonder if they would do that between the Excellence class ships, because like when they came out with the Dream class, it was all the same. They came out the Vista class, they were all the same. So I would think that these three ships would be the same as well, and there may not be as much changing it up and new concepts until maybe the next class of ships comes out, which who knows when that'll be. But I think having that three ships in each of those classes and having them around the country the way they have it, between Galveston and Miami and Port Canaveral, different places for people to go. So I don't know if they necessarily would change it from ship to ship in the same class, but maybe down the line as the next class comes out, and who knows, what's going to happen. Of course, Ed, like I said, Ed's got 2,000 days on a Carnival ship. He literally lives a stone's throw from Port Canaveral. So
11 times on Mardi Gras, bartenders rotate between several bars.
Yeah, so that, like I said, when we talked about that earlier, about how the alchemists are at the Fortune Teller, or they may be at the Brass Rail, or they do rotate between the bars. So which I like, because a lot of times we go on certain ships to see certain people or certain alchemists or whatever. So it's nice to see that we can hit them up at different bars throughout the ship.
Bahia says there, Neil for Bolt, I recommend you reserve early, one of the first few days. Once on board in case it's windy or weather and they close it.
Okay, so that's a good point, Bahar. I did not know that there were reservations. So I'm assuming you can only do it on board because I don't see it online. So give me the lowdown on that, Bahar, if you want to type another message. And how does that work? I mean, do we go up there as soon as we get on the ship and reserve some times? And yeah, I'd like to know how that works because I would definitely
So it's not in your, I guess, what is it, like a portal that you're using where you can see?
Yeah, on the Hub app.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. So
yeah, unfortunately, the Hub app is no good unless you're actually on the ship. You can't really do anything on it. So yeah, so that's actually something I'm going to look for then. As soon as I get on board, I'll look for that on the Hub app. And if I got to make reservations, then yeah, perfect.
Once on board, just reserve it through the Hub app. Very easy. So we need to get. I think we need to get.
You froze up. All I heard was we need to get, and then you froze up.
Yeah, we need to get like dancers behind us. No, I was just saying we need to get Ed on board. Ed on a chat for questioning.
He
that's
knows
insane how many days.
Excuse me.
Daryl wants to know, what's your favorite drink at the Alchemy Bar?
I've been asked that question so many times, and I'm gonna honestly tell you, I have several, but none of them are on the menu. I've gotten to the point now where when I know the alchemists, and when we get on board, I just tell them, make me something. And I do that probably 30 times throughout a cruise, and I'll try 30 different drinks. And, we did with the Alchemy Bar Drinking Society Facebook page, we had the great Anna Maria, alchemist, was on live with us. And I'll never forget the line. I love Anna Maria. I think I've sailed on 5 cruises with her. She's my absolute favorite alchemist. And I remember we were sitting at the bar on Panorama, and somebody was sitting there at the bar and asked me that same question, what's your favorite drink? And she cut me right off and basically said, he drinks what I put in front of him. And, and I absolutely love it. And that is so true. I just, whatever I'm in the mood for, my only restriction is I don't care for tequila. But other than that, I'll drink whatever they put in front of me.
I think just talking about the Alchemy Bar, I think it's kind of, if you think about all the ships prior to Alchemy coming on Carnival, the bartenders were pretty much limited to the menu, right? Mm-hmm. And then Alchemy came along, it kind of opened up the floodgates to letting the bartenders, express their drink-making skills. And it sort of brought forward, the best of the best bartenders on Carnival, and allowing them to basically that is their bar. They make their drinks, and it's completely not anything Carnival had in the past.
No, it really is. They're such talented people. I don't even call them bartenders. I call them mad scientists because they can do anything. And I'll never forget, my first experience with the Alchemy Bar was on the Magic several years ago, and we had a 4th of July cruise. And I didn't know anything about how Alchemy Bar worked or whatever. And, yep, that's the page. And I sat there and I told the alchemist, I said, well, you know what? It's the 4th of July. Make me something red, white, and blue. So she thought about it for about 10 minutes. She came back and she made this beautiful layered drink that was red, white, and blue. Put a straw in it, and she said, drink it through the straw. As you get through each layer, it'll get stronger. By the time I got to the 3rd layer, I almost fell off my bar stool. It was so strong, but it was so good. And ever since then, I'm like, yeah, I'm just telling them to make me something. Go crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't have a lot of interaction with most of these guys, but this guy in the bottom right here is about 7 feet tall, right? Isn't he like?
Yes.
Tall this guy.
Yeah, he's up there.
And I know him I probably know him more from in the crew mess. Like after work, normally the shops will close at 11, and then there's a midnight buffet for crew then. And obviously when they go on a break, obviously between their shifts. So they'd pop down to the mess to have something to eat. And I'd always see him in the mess you know, kind of literally goes down there, quick snack, and then back. He's that's kind of the one that I recognize from all the photos here.
Yeah, they're all great. They're all such personable people, and you know, and for some people that aren't even that familiar with Alchemy Bar, I'll tell you one of the other things we do, and we started doing it on Panorama actually, is we would bring stuff for them to the bar. Like I would bring a jar of Nutella or a bag of marshmallows, or we'd go to the Lido buffet and bring some sliced watermelon, and you just give them stuff and say, here, make me something. I brought. I think we were at the Walmart in, what was it, Puerto Vallarta, that you have the Walmart right across the street. And we went over there and I got a jar of fluff and a bag of colored marshmallows, and I gave it to Anna Maria. And she made these two incredible marshmallow martinis. One was pink, one was white, and they were fantastic.
Yeah, you know, I mean, again, for these guys working there, I mean, obviously they've got everything behind them there, but like where you bring that extra kind of fifth ingredient sort of thing, it just adds another element to what they can do.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not probably necessarily going to go out and buy things themselves, but you know, that's just next level, right? Where they can kind of come up with something.
Yeah.
Steve says there, same here. Rarely order off the Alchemy Bar menu.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. I mean, the Alchemy Bar menu is fantastic. They've got great drinks like Deal Closer. I mean, I know the Cucumber Sunrise is a very popular drink. Was it the Purple Sunset, which was a new drink that they added that actually a guest had made, and it became so popular. So they're all good drinks. But like I said, if you have something in mind, you know, whether it's a flavor or a mood, or even my wife went one night and, you know, she was feeling her throat was a little sore. And Anna Maria made her this elixir with Saint Germain's and ginger and all this stuff to help her, you know, coat her throat, and she felt great.
Yeah, so there you go. So Alchemy Bar drinking tea. So if anybody's watching and wants to join this, I don't think necessarily, you know, I mean, you don't have to be like kind of part of this society per se, but, you know, I mean, in terms of getting ideas of drinks and things like that, and it just expands your kind of social groups outside of the cruising, I guess, as well, right?
Oh yeah, it's a great group of people, and you know, it's nice when you're in groups like that and you have something in common. And you know, when you finally get on a ship, you know, you put posts on there and say, okay, who's on this cruise, who's on this cruise, you know, and then we always meet up at the Alchemy Bar and say, hey, you know, because all the time we spend on the page, and it's finally nice to have some cruising friends.
3,100 members I see there as well, so that's very good.
Yeah,
have that many people.
This page, I think, is less than 2 years old, if I'm mistaken. Steve, you can correct me if I'm mistaken, but it's a very relatively young page, and it's grown exponentially with membership. It really is a great page, and the guys that run it, Steve and Michael, are just super nice people.
And Ed says here, warning Neil, the magician who was on the horizon, then Panorama, is now on the Mardi Gras, still laughing at his trick he did at the Alchemy Bar to you on the Panorama.
You know, Ed, it's funny you mentioned that, because I saw that last week that guy was going to be on. Now, listen, he's a great guy, everybody, but he tried to hypnotize me one night on Panorama, and I'm just one of those people that can't be hypnotized. You know, I played along for as long as I could, but I just had to bust out laughing after a while and said, okay, enough is enough already. I get back to my drinks.
Wow. Well, that's very neat. So now I'm going to go back to about this cruising in 2022. So do you feel like, you know, having to do these tests prior to going on the ship, having to wear masks, there's not too many things, you know, that you'd need to sort of maybe bring along additionally, maybe let's say hand sanitizer if you know, overcautious like that, but there's not too many extra things that are kind of stopping you taking a cruise, right?
No, I mean, there really aren't. I mean, you know, we do what we have to do. And, you know, like I said before, you know, and again, I'm going to preface this by saying this is my personal opinion, and by no means should it apply to everybody. But I certainly don't mind having the vaccine. I don't mind taking the tests, but I wish that they could at least get rid of the mask mandate. I mean, it's just like, I don't want to say it like takes away from the fun, because in some way it does. So a good comparison, when we went on Horizon in July 4th, where the guests didn't have to wear masks, I was still upset about the fact that the crew had to wear masks. You know, we do treat the Carnival ships as a destination, and we do treat the crew like they're our family, and we love them to death. And you know, I want them to be able to smile and you know, express themselves. And it's a shame that they have to wear masks. I mean, they're all vaccinated. They test them rigorously. So, you know, bottom line is it going to stop us? Absolutely not. You know, my wife and I, we made the decision over a year ago, before the vaccine mandate was even put in place. And I'm not an anti-vaxxer or by any means. But I probably wouldn't have gotten it at all, because I'm just one of those people that, you know, if I get it, I get it. I'll deal with the, you know, the virus. But I knew somewhere in the back of my head that it was going to be a requirement for sailing. And I said, you know what, let's go get it. And we actually got it, you know, a couple months before the mandate was actually put out, because I just knew it was going to be a requirement. And then yesterday, we all went and got our booster shots, because I have a funny feeling that that may be the next mandate coming out. While they're not mandating it, they are strongly recommending it. And based on what I read on Carnival's website and what I hear John saying when he talks about it, it's kind of like a preference to soften the blow. So I think eventually you might see the booster as a mandate. Now, if the CDC changes their definition of fully vaccinated to be 2 shots and a booster 6 months later, the cruise industry is going to follow.
Yeah, so my wife, we're here in Moscow, Russia, if you guys don't know. My wife has the Sputnik vaccine, which is the one here in Russia. So part of the Russian government's kind of rules is they only are allowing or, you know, approving Russian-made and produced vaccines. So the Sputnik V, or Sputnik 5, I call it, Sputnik V, and then the Sputnik Light, which is kind of like another version of Sputnik. But as part of her going to Australia or flying to Australia, the Australian government hasn't recognized Sputnik as an approved vaccine. So if she does fly to Australia, she'll essentially fly as an unvaccinated traveler, because they've not recognized Sputnik. Whether they will down the track, I don't know. But for now, if she flies into Australia, she'd have to do 7 days mandatory hotel quarantine, and then 7 days home quarantine, which they've just changed from 14 days in a hotel to 7 plus 7. So it's what it is, right? I mean, again, we have to kind of deal with it. The Australian embassy here, and actually I've looked into the British embassy, neither of them are doing vaccines like, for instance, Moderna, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, all of these, AstraZeneca. They're not doing anything in the embassies, you know what I mean, where a foreign national can go there and get that vaccine, you know what I mean? So her getting the Russian vaccine has no meaning for her to come to Australia. So that's just, you know, talking about that.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, so for now, we'll just have to kind of go with it. Okay, so I will never go back to the regular bars. So Daryl's saying now, I think you might have converted him to an Alchemy Society member here.
Well, Daryl, I can definitely agree with that statement, but I'm going to have to burst your bubble. Unfortunately, as much as we all would like it to be, the Alchemy Bar is not open 24/7. So they don't open till usually 4 o'clock in the afternoon, sometimes 5 o'clock. So you're still going to have to frequent the other bars during the day. But you can be darn sure that when they open up, the fun will be there.
Yeah, I wonder, do you know anything about the history of alchemy, about how it came about? I mean, I don't actually know, but the guy that's in charge of bars for Carnival is, isn't it Eddie or Ed?
Eddie, yeah, Eddie.
Eddie something or other. I don't know his last name, but
I have it. It escapes me, but yeah, his name.
I kind of wonder if he was the one that invented it, or do you think maybe they've used an outside company to come up with the concept?
That's a good question. I'll bet Ed Patterson might know the answer to that, because I know he knows Eddie pretty well too. So I don't know if that is part of your conversations, Ed, if you've ever had with Eddie, but you can enlighten us if you know the answer to that question.
Yeah, that would be kind of interesting, right? Because, you know what I mean? There's always that forever talk about, you know, who came up with the fun ship concept, where did the funnel come about? I mean, obviously, you know, things like Rudy's grill for the Mardi Gras, you know, all of these concepts that they're going to have going forward, or if they do or don't. I mean, someone's thinking them up, right?
Sure. I mean, somebody's got to be doing it. And, you know, whoever came up with the alchemy, you know, definitely deserves a medal for that one. And I'm probably going to say the same thing about Fortune Teller Bar come next month.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think you're probably right. Just talking about like Jubilee and celebration. I mean, where Carnival's kind of kept a consistent theme amongst each class of ships, there's a possibility that they won't change anything for the next two ships.
Yeah, I'd be very shocked if they did.
Yeah, so Ed says there, I know Eddie, but I never asked him about alchemy. Oh, so there we go.
Okay, well, Ed, your mission, if you choose to accept it, is next time you talk to Eddie, get us the answer to that question, buddy.
Oh, there we go. Scott's got a good question for you there. So, suite worth getting on the horizon, and are the perks still there with pandemic going on?
You know, I love the suites, but again, if you know, it's one of those things where it's a personal preference. Like I always will have a balcony. I love my balcony, and whether it's a regular balcony or suite. But you know, I've stayed in the Ocean Suite on the Horizon. I'm actually booked in an Ocean Suite on Mardi Gras. I've had the Captain Suite on Conquest. I've had the Vista Suite on Sunshine. I love the suites. I love the extra space, especially for the longer cruises. You know, the shorter ones, maybe not as much, but I just love having the extra space. And of course, I love my balcony. But all the perks now, as far as the perks, I know that like when you're in a suite, like on Horizon, they give you a free bag of laundry. I believe that's still there. I know there's extra perks with a spa suite, but I've never had a spa suite. And I know there's the, you know, extra perks with the Havana suites and Havana cabins. You get, you know, the private area in the back of the ship and so forth. But I'm trying to think of on Horizon, you know, other than
I guess if you look at sort of things from maybe when you're on your Magic Cruise and stuff like that, or
yeah,
maybe anything that has been removed from previous cruises.
No, I mean, you still get like, you know, I think as far as being a suite guest, you get the perk of boarding early, you get the perk of the bag of laundry complimentary. Other than that, all the other perks, you know, go in line with your VIFP level. But I think that's the only two perks I can really think off the top of my head. If you book a suite, is you know you get to board early and you get the extra bag of laundry complimentary.
And I guess at the time when you do the check-in, I think it's like so many weeks beforehand, you get the opportunity to choose your check-in time, right?
Yeah, what they do now is the check-in times, like for Platinum and Diamond, you get a 48-hour head start on checking in. So like whatever my check-in date is for Mardi Gras, I think it's February 17th. That's only for Platinum and Diamond people, and then Gold, Red, and Blue will all have to start their check-in on the 19th of February.
Right.
So
okay.
That's a little different. And then there is no more priority boarding for Diamonds and Platinums now. I mean, I don't want to say that you're still getting on early. I mean, they let the suites go on first, and then the Diamond, and then the Platinum. So, and then, you know, I think, and then of course they're not doing Faster to the Fun right now. So that's,
right,
you know, taken away. So, but again, you know, it's, you know, for what little stuff, I don't want to say little, I mean, it, you know, it is what it is, but it's not something that I'm going to base my experience on. You know, if I'm on the ship at, you know, 11 or 11:30, or if I don't get an extra bag of laundry, it's like, you know, whatever. But as far as the suites go, I love the space in the suites, you know, especially, you know, if I've got, you know, my son or kids traveling. Oh, there you go.
I was just going to say, I'll just jump ahead there. So Christy says that priority dining requests, even specialty dining, priority disembarkation at ports, and 2 large bottles of water.
And that's why she's the rock star travel agent.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that. Like the this priority disembarkation at the ports. So I'm pretty sure I don't know how they do that because I'm always in bed and I would miss that kind of 5 minutes of the day. But do they kind of maybe tell you ahead, like meet in a certain lounge, or we'll meet at a certain corridor and walk you down to the gangway?
You know,
Um,
I don't know, because I know when we get to the ports, like I'm usually right there getting off the ship as soon as they dock. I think the only time I've had to deal with the priority at the ports is when it's a water shuttle or tender port.
yeah,
So
like Grand Cayman.
we'll get priority numbers for the water shuttles, you know, first. The suites and then the diamonds and platinums. I think we get priority to that. But I think if it's just a regular where you dock at the pier and you just walk off the ship, I don't think there's anything really priority special line or anything for that. I've never seen one.
Yeah, so that priority dining requests and specialty dining. So behind the scenes, in theory, if the restaurant is full, like say the steakhouse or wherever, they can bump people and put the suite guests in or diamond or platinum guests in. And there is a kind of pecking order that's behind the scenes and behind the closed door of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've actually heard of people getting very upset because their specialty restaurant reservation was kind of booted or whatever. That you know, they must have had a suite guest or diamond guest or whatever that, you know, came in. But you know, I guess that's, you know, part of the perks.
Yeah, Daryl says there. Yeah, so when you were on a cruise and you have to wear a mask, he kind of takes away from the fun, takes away from the cruise. I think you're agreeing with that, right?
Yeah, I really think it does. You know, you're so used to walking around the ship. I mean, of course, outside is one thing, but when you're inside, and say, you know, you're walking around the promenade, or you know, you're walking inside, excuse me, you know, and it's so nice to have that interaction with people, whether it's the crew or the other guests, and you know, smile and say something. It's like I find myself saying what a lot more, because you know, especially with the crew, you know, because the crew have their accents, and then you muffle that coming through the mask. It's so hard to understand people sometimes, you know. And just
Yeah.
when you're
Mhm.
talking to other guests, you know, if you're in the casino, or you know, you know, you're playing at the tables, you got to wear your mask. And it's like, you know, I like to play craps, and you know, there's a lot of interaction at the craps table between the players, you know, or at the poker
Mhm.
table. And it's yeah, it does, in my opinion, it does take away from it a little bit. Is it going to
All
stop?
right.
No, but it does take away.
No, I agree. Yeah. So Barry is actually a friend of mine who I worked with on ships. I'm going to say 15 years ago. He lives up in Canada, up on the east coast of Canada. I think he still is. It's a dream to go back to ships, not as a shoppy, but as a vacation at great times.
Well, what are you waiting
Um,
for, Barry? Let's go.
yeah, he worked on ships a lot of years ago, and we met the very famous Canadian conservationist. Oh my God, he was cruising. He was like one of the first kind of environmentalists.
Jeff Corwin.
No, was it Jeff Corwin? I'm not
Yeah.
sure. He was on a cruise and he came in the store and he recognized him. But Barry, yeah, I'm pretty sure he's married now. He has kids growing up, so yeah, he's ready to get back on the ships. Um, yeah, Scott says there, why do they stop faster to the fun?
Your guess is as good as mine. It's like the you know, the embarkation, when they stopped the priority embarkation for diamonds and platinums. I don't understand the theories behind it. I mean, we all still board the ship and we board in groups. So why change the order of the groups? Um, the faster to the fun, I really don't know why they stopped that. I mean, it's, you know, it's no different than being a platinum or diamond member. When you bought that, you got, you know, you got the priority embarkation. You'd be like the fourth group to board. You get the you know, the line, the special, you get to go on the diamond platinum line at guest services, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
plus, oh, you know, oh, I think now I remember, I think one of the main reasons was because one of the perks of Faster to the Fun was allowing people that purchase that early access to their staterooms when they board. Like diamonds and platinums, we can go right to our staterooms where everybody else has to wait till 1:30 before theirs are ready. And I think because of the enhanced cleaning that takes more time, it probably wasn't feasible to have those additional cabins for Faster to the Fun ready, to for those passengers to be able to access their cabins before 1:30.
Right, because I think each ship sold so many
Yeah,
allocations of Faster Fun. So
yeah,
whether it be 50 or 100 or let's say 200, that would add the amount of cabins to each cabin steward's section,
yep,
um, to that list, right? So they'd have, Sweet Guest to have ready, Diamond Platinum to have ready, and then Faster to the Fun. I mean, the cruise line probably in the short term saw the money coming in from selling that perk,
mm-hmm.
but didn't sort of look at the extra demands on everybody else to cover the perk, right?
Yep. And now, with the post-COVID world and, the extra enhanced cleanings that they have to do, it just takes more time to get the cabins ready.
Yeah, I mean, I have to assume that the cabin stewards have a longer checklist, and then there's floor supervisors. We're talking about Carnival here, of course, but there's floor supervisors that come and then check the rooms, and they do spot checking.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
they're strain on them doing that as well. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So they've got
Walking around.
time frames that they've got to reach, right? This is going to be ready at this time. This is going to happen at this time.
Yep. Yeah. And I've seen those supervisors walking around with their clipboards and, checking cabins after the room stewards have been in and everything. So, yeah, I mean, it just puts so much extra strain on those guys, and they work so hard as it is.
And then Christy sort of said here, spa suites, priority spa reservations, unlimited use of the thermal suites, complimentary scrub kit, 2 complimentary fitness classes. Wow. Body composite analysis, discounts on treatments, Elemis products, and the robe and slippers. That's a lot of extras.
Like everything the ladies would want.
Yeah. I don't think when before I left the Dream, and I think on Horizon Night, for sure they did it on the Dream, they were doing spa nights for crew members. They actually opened the thermal pool, the thalassa pool, and the spa up there. There's like a huge pool that you can go in, right? And they did it once a week, like from 11 p.m. till 1 a.m. And we went up there, the guys in the shops, and we sat in the spa there for half an hour or so.
That's awesome. It kind of reminds me, if you ever saw the movie Caddyshack, when they allow the caddies for 15 minutes in the club pool.
It was always kind of right when we finished work, so we always think, oh, it's too late, but they'd always have a thing where they'd, like, the HR department on the ship organizes crew activities, and the whole idea is for them to fill the monthly schedule for crew with activities, but most of the activities just aren't in times when 95% of the crew can do them. So they may do something like a fitness class, for crew at 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. on a night of the week. But that's when all dining rooms working, all housekeeping's working, deck and engine may have just finished work, shops are working, entertainment's all working, and nobody would make it. Yeah. But it fills the calendar, though, of activities. So when you do the Behind the Fun tour and they show you the crew activities calendar on the wall, you're like, wow, there's a lot of things scheduled. But most things, genuinely, people can't make it to them, apart from the odd staff member or odd person on a night shift or a day shift that can go. So that spa night thing, crew could go to I'm not sure now if it's been stopped, but crew could go to the passenger gyms. I mean, I've not been on the ship now for nearly 2 years, but they were mostly taking away that luxury of that because crew misused it. And crew would go and use the equipment when guests were in there. And, I mean, there's how many machines and how many other machines you could use. And you get one silly crew member who would jump on the wrong machine when a guest was in there. And then they'd say, okay, no more crew passenger gym for 2 weeks because it just takes one complaint, right? I mean, of course. And that happened. So now we'll just talk about again your cruise that you were on, okay, so we've got bubble tours that they've got now if you're unvaccinated. I guess it's mostly factoring in children.
We actually met a couple on it was actually on Horizon that came with unvaxxed children. They got the exemption, and there's a certain area of the Lido buffet that is roped off for unvaxxed people to sit at. They kind of segregate them into that one area. I know they have the bubble tours now, for excursions, and I've seen quite a few more now than I have in the past. But It was, we didn't see that many. Every time we'd walk through the Lido buffet, there was maybe, a couple people sitting there. There wasn't that many. I mean, I think they were limiting it to like 5%. And I know that they probably wasn't even going that high on some cruises, but at least, they're making an effort to try to, do something. I know, listen, the vax isn't, everybody's cup of tea. It is what it is, and we're all entitled to the opinion. But, at least Carnival is making an effort to try to get some, unvaxxed people, which I'll tell you, I don't have a problem with it. I really don't. I don't really care if they're segregated or not. I don't care if they have to go on their own toilet. I mean, I wouldn't mind sitting with them. I don't mind, we did in Gigi's kitchen one day. We sat with them. Going on tours with them. It just, stuff like that doesn't bother me. I don't let stuff like that ruin my vacation. We're all human beings and we all have a life to live. And, if I'm that scared of it, then I wouldn't go on a cruise or go out of the house.
Yeah. So, Bahia says they're interesting facts. Speaking of who came up with stuff on Carnival, the Skyride was invented by Scotty Olson, who initially pitched the idea to Shark Tank.
Interesting. I wonder if Scotty gets any royalties from that.
So he pitched the idea of a Skyride on a cruise ship, I wonder, or I don't know. I'll just read the next bit here because he's put another part. As a personal powered roller coaster bike ride, but it was shot down by all the sharks. They said it wasn't a business and not a good idea. Then he pitched it to Carnival and they loved it.
Well, I mean, as popular as the Skyride bikes were on the Vista class ship, I mean, I love those things. I thought they were a lot of fun. That it just makes sense to take it to that next level and have those powered bikes, aka roller coaster, on the Excellence class ship. I think it's a lot of fun, and it's something that nobody else has. So why not?
Yeah. So yeah, these personal powered roller coaster bikes. At the old theme parks of years ago, they used to have the pedal cars that you'd go around on like a monorail track, right? I guess it's kind of just another version of it where you've got the speed going up and down based on the track design and stuff.
Yeah, I kind of relate them when I look at them to the motorcycles that Sylvester Stallone used in Judge Dredd.
Right. Yeah, of course. Right. That kind of the way you sit, right?
Yeah. Love my
Very interesting.
Can't wait.
So after Mardi Gras, you've got the ship in Europe. Is that the next ship?
Yep. We get on the Pride for the 12-day Iceland and British Isles cruise in July.
Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. I was just thinking about this right when you mentioned it earlier. It's just such a shame that the Spirit coming over to America, that they couldn't have put something in place as a repositioning or a transatlantic, but obviously they took the intention of sailing it empty over.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the ship's on it.
I mean, it literally, like right after it made the announcement, it was already en route to the States.
Yeah, I'm gonna just pull that up right here. I don't know if we can pull that up. Let's just see. Yeah, look, I imagine when it did that sort of little sail around Doha over there, it was obviously doing some kind of sea trials, and then it just came back to Dubai. It docked, and then it literally has left. So I imagine it's not full complement of crew.
Yeah, you'd think it's going to be a little while before they get that one up to staff and ready to sail. I mean, I don't know what
the really push my internet out here. Where are we? Let's just see if we can find it. Oh, there it is. It's still just chugging along here.
Yeah, it looks like it's probably going to go Suez Canal and cross the Mediterranean.
Yeah, so I would imagine it's probably going to do that. I mean, you've got it said after Suez Canal, Cadiz. But there's a tiny chance it may either go to Limassol or maybe even a stop in Italy and pick up crew or do a crew change. Yeah, so there it is. There's actually Norwegian Jade about to do that trip through there as well. And then just talking about other ships, so we're not so biased. Where is No, I'm not going to find it, just my luck. There is the Wonder of the Seas, the current new largest ship in the world.
Yep.
I don't know how excited you are for the largest ships in the world. That's actually on its way. Oh, there it is. It's just there. So it actually, interestingly, it was built in France. So it went from France back to Limassol, Cyprus. And then it's going to do a stop in Cadiz, I believe, and then the transatlantic. So there's obviously something about going to Limassol, whether I think what it is, it's the crew members to join the ship. They can't get the visas to join in Europe because they need to have a European visa. And it's easier to fly them in to Turkey, I imagine, or somewhere like that.
Probably, yeah. It's got to be like a logistical nightmare getting people from around the world with the way it is right now.
Yeah, so I would assume for the Spirit, they'll either pick up crew in Cadiz, and then otherwise other crew will be waiting in Jacksonville, right? I mean, they'll literally sign them on and off they go.
Yep.
Yeah, this is the wonderful cruise mapper here. So, and then so you've then got the European cruises, the Legend, you said it was?
Yeah. So after July, we come back to go to Miami for the Freedom for Christmas, and then next summer, actually, it's the Legend out of Baltimore going to Greenland. It's the 14-day Greenland cruise, and then the following summer after that, we have back-to-back on the Splendor doing out of, hopefully they'll be going by 2024, out of Sydney, going to New Zealand on the first cruise, and then the Great Barrier Reef on the second cruise.
So now I'm not going to remember this very well. Isn't it Costa
Magica?
Magica, which is the sister ship to Splendor, I think. Is that right? Or one of the sister ships?
Yeah, they haven't decided. They haven't announced, I guess, what that's going to be called or where that's going to be based. But yeah, that one's the next one in line, other than the the Jubilee and the Celebration to come out for Carnival.
Yeah, so I wonder. I mean, you look, somebody knows somewhere, right? And then it's rumors, and then it's true. It's really interesting, I mean, they've sort of the changeover from the Magica to Carnival it's taken quite a while to do that, or to Carnival Australia. So I wonder what they were holding off with.
From what I saw and read, I think they were having staffing issues at the dry docks. Same thing.
Right.
Why, my Mardi Gras got delayed for so long was, just trying to get, caught up with everything from the shutdowns, and, everybody's behind schedule right now.
And these blockchain delivery issues and things like that. And yeah, so because that was the other thing with the dry dock in the Bahamas, because it was damaged, they weren't able to kind of bring it back up to full service.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure, again, the same problem with getting deliveries and getting things sent to the Bahamas. It's easier for them to, I mean, how would you think about that, to send the Horizon to Italy and back?
I know that was really surprising, with as many shipyards as we have here, that they could have, fixed the problem here. That I can't believe they took it all the way back to Italy. But listen,
do you think it was maybe a warranty claim, or?
That's the other thing I was thinking. Hey, listen, they're the ones that built it. It's probably still under warranty, so they got to fix it. But you'd think it would just be easier to say, hey, okay, fix it over here, and the shipyard will pay for it over here or something. But people a lot smarter than me are in charge of all that stuff. I just want to be honest.
How many cruises was it? Roughly, was it 4 or 6 cruises were canceled? I'm not too sure off the top of my head, but
Christy would know, because she's pulled what's left of her hair out over all these cancellations.
And then now with all of these changes with elation, with ecstasy, and sensation, you know what I mean? And this is the whole thing, where you see in the groups now, there's 1 or 2 or 3 hour waits to get through to somebody. So it's not the fact that no one's picking up the phone; it's the limited amount of people there answering the phone, of course, but the amount of time they're spending on the phone with each person.
Yep.
To do it is taking longer, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, I hear the horror stories from Christy all the time, where she's on hold for 5 hours trying to get somebody, to do a bunch of changes, and it's just like, It's ridiculous. I mean, I know they've hired a bunch of new people, but a lot of the new people can only do so much. Then she's got to talk to different departments, different supervisors, and it's just, I feel bad for all the travel agents and all these people having to deal with this because it's been a rough couple of years.
And this is another thing, talking about Carnival Corporation, where Carnival Corporation run each cruise line separately, that they don't share logistics. Like they could bring in, for instance, the call center from Holland America or call center from Princess or Cunard or wherever. They don't. I assume they don't do that.
Yeah, I don't believe so. I mean, like I said, I never know where. I very rarely call them. Obviously, I just deal with Christy, and Christy calls it. So I don't know if every time she makes a call, if it just goes to Miami or some other call center that they have, or who knows if she's still on watching, she could answer that question. But yeah, it's been crazy, and but bottom line is, I'm glad that we're back. I'm glad we're cruising again. I hope it's not too much longer before we go back to 100% normal again. And looking forward to getting on Mardi Gras in a couple weeks.
All right, so I think we might wrap it up very, very shortly. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions now.
All right.
These are off. Actually, we've not had any scheduled questions, right? So it seems like the comments have gone a little bit quiet. But now, for let's say the Jubilee. Okay, I think you're holding out on Jubilee and Celebration because you want to see how Mardi Gras is, right?
Yeah, I have no plans, and with everything we have booked right now, I really have no plans to book any of the other Excellence class ships right now.
But are you waiting to see how Mardi Gras is and how you feel, if it's comfortable, if
I think it's a combination of not only that, but the fact that I'm really not impressed with the itineraries because again, we've been to all the Caribbean ports, and the ships are not going to have anything different than Mardi Gras. And we were talking about this the other day, and I understand why they do what they do with only the 7-day sailings on these ships. They want the turnover. Those suites are going for insane amounts of money, for $14,000 for a 7-day cruise on those, presidential suites. So they want that turnover every 7 days to generate the revenue. So, if they were to do a Journeys cruise or something special with one of those ships, I'd be more apt to book it and pay the extra money for those ships. But it's like, my thought is why? I mean, yes, I'm going to love the ship. I'm going to enjoy Mardi Gras. But why would I pay all that extra money that they charge on those ships for basically the same itineraries that I've done that I can do on Horizon or any other ship? And I've already experienced all the stuff on Mardi Gras.
Yeah, so Christy says there that they all run on different platforms. Reps are educated in each area. For instance, groups, departments can only handle the group bookings and stuff like that, which, yeah, that makes absolute complete sense, Christy. I know we're kind of like the Mondays experts, aren't we, on all of this? And just talking about, being on hold and making bookings and changes. The airlines have dealt with this for their history, but the cruise lines always seem half a step behind, taking that next to, this sales and service to the next level.
Yep.
All right. So now my question is for the next couple of ships after Mardi Gras. I mean, obviously you haven't been on there, but do you have a couple of dream things that Carnival should do? Let's just talk about Carnival, of course, but do you think there's a couple of things that they should do that they haven't done?
Yeah,
they haven't thought of.
A few years ago, I remember being at the Platinum and Diamond party on, I think it was Vista, and they teased us about sailing to Iceland and Greenland. Well, that finally came about a year later, where they were doing the transatlantic, and I said that's definitely a bucket list cruise that I want to do. So we had booked that. Then of course with COVID that got canceled. But I must say about 6 months before COVID came about, John posed a question on his page about how many people would be interested in doing a Carnival sailing to Antarctica. And I immediately jumped on. I'm like, sign me up. And so I'm really hoping that maybe somewhere down the road, when all this craziness gets out, that will come to fruition. I know other cruise lines do it, but if Carnival were ever to do that, I would drop every cruise I have booked right now to sail to Antarctica.
I mean, I guess the main logistical problem Carnival would have would be the size of ship to do that itinerary.
Well, not but it's got to be the type of ship. Like right now, I believe that the Spirit class ships. That's why they're only doing the Spirit class ships up in the Arctic, up in Iceland and Greenland, is because those ships have the thicker hulls to deal with the ice.
Right, because they were built in Finland, not Italy.
Yeah, so they've got to have the proper ship to sail through those kind of waters.
The other option, obviously, is for Carnival to build Carnival Corporation to buy Crystal Cruises.
Sure.
And they can get the Symphony and Harmony straight away. And then they've also got the one down in Ushuaia, which has been arrested. So they could just take over Crystal Endeavor instantly.
Oh. Yeah, they got something.
It could become the Carnival Endeavor. And then they've instantly got a small cruise line down there.
Yep. So yeah.
Any other dream things that you want? Let's say not itinerary, let's say.
I don't know if there's really anything else. I mean, we've sailed with them, so many times. There's just something about it, the people that just keeps us coming back. And, years ago when we first started cruising, it was about, okay, what ports to call? Then as we got to the ports to call in the Caribbean, we said, okay, well, we haven't been on this ship. Let's try this ship. Then as we got more cruises under our belt and started becoming friendlier with the crew, it was about, okay, well, what crew is on this ship and who's sailing on what? And let's, sail with this person. And then the new ships started coming out. So it changes over the years. I don't know if there's anything there. I take it as it comes. If Carnival's going to introduce something new, yeah, I'm going to try it. But I don't think there's anything in the back of my mind short of certain itineraries like Australia that we haven't done yet. Maybe sometime, want to do the Far East and do, Vietnam, Thailand, stuff like that. That if Carnival ever does those. So yeah, unfortunately, we missed out on the 24-day to Singapore. We didn't get to do that one.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that one in my head right there and then the only other times they've done that is when they've taken the ship to dry dock and back.
Right.
So they had that option that you could do the one way or the one way back for the dry dock. Steve says their Carnival Panorama Journeys cruise to Costa Rica and Guatemala.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I guess, is that a scheduled one already, or is that one of his dream ones?
Do you think so? I think that's probably on Steve's wish list, but I don't think that's one. But it's funny when you talk about sailing on the west coast of the States. They have their Alaska season, and then of course they do Hawaii. I would love to see a back-to-back Alaska-Hawaii cruise. I think that would go over huge. I mean, you'd be on the ship for about 3 weeks, but who cares?
The fire and ice itinerary.
Like the last Alaska cruise of the season, and then turn around and go right down to Hawaii. Yeah,
look, many, many moons ago when I was on the original Carnival Jubilee, that was the forever itinerary. You do the cruise from Miami and then over to LA, Hawaii, and then I think it was actually Honolulu to Vancouver, I think, or to Seattle. And then you could have that chance of doing back-to-back cruising. It wasn't one itinerary, but you could do that fire and ice cruise if you wanted to.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Carnival do a world cruise, Christy says.
Yeah, so would I, as long as I can afford it.
Yeah, Christy's just thinking of all of the commission of that. Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, they do, isn't it January? Well, okay, prior to the last 2 years, taking away all of that, it was January till March or April that the ships used to leave Fort Lauderdale on their world cruises. Yeah, the Princess.
There's the two that do the 180-day world cruises. I think they go to 103 different ports of call. But there's one that was just put out a few months ago, and Christy will know the answer to this, that they're doing a 240-day world cruise. I mean, that's just like, oh my God, yeah, just move in. I'm there, sure. Come on,
Neil and his 3 wives on a world cruise.
Yeah, she just wants the 3 bookings for the different cabins that I got to keep them separate in.
Yeah, there is the famous guy on Royal Caribbean. I think actually is his name Ed as well?
I don't know who that is.
One of the Royal Caribbean ships. Do you know the story about this guy?
No. What, does he live on the ship?
Yeah, so he's done it for the last quite a few years, and they've even got like a table and a chair for him reserved on the Lido, where he sits, and he takes his laptop out there, and I think he's like a day trader or some sort of a banker of some kind, and he does his online work sitting at that chair all day or during the daytime, and he wears like a t-shirt, a Royal Caribbean t-shirt always, and everybody goes up to him and gets photos with him, and it's kind of Super Mario. There we go. That's his name. Sorry, I got that completely wrong. Yeah. Oh God, think we got great people in the comments. Have you never heard of Super Mario?
No, outside of the video game, no.
Yeah, that's his name is Mario, right? And they call him Super Mario. I know Cunard for a long time had a couple of guests that lived on the ships year round, and I think even Crystal, like these luxury 6-star ships, had people that were living on them as well. I mean, I think it's been talked about on and off quite a lot of years with Carnival too, right? Like the logistics of it being cheaper to live on a ship versus land-based cost of living.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what situation you're in. I mean, obviously, if you're going to compare it to like a nursing home, yeah, it's definitely cheaper. But, it's still, I think somebody did, I saw a post one day where somebody did in a check, they what it would cost to live on a Carnival ship from January 1st to December 31st. And I think the bare minimum was for like an inside cabin, no perks, no nothing, was like $75,000 per person.
Okay,
and then of course that start adding, if you want an outside cabin or balcony or whatever else, it can go up to, double that. But yeah, I mean, that's a lot of money, 75,000, and basically to be in an inside cabin the whole time for 365 days. I don't know if I could handle that one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's. I guess I work on the ship for 6 or 8 months at a time. I mean, it's a different whole scenario to cruising. I mean, working actually takes your mind off all of the free time you would have.
Exactly.
Versus sitting on the Lido wondering all day what you're going to do and how many books you could. All right. I hope, Neil, you've had a good time on the live stream.
Always have a good time with you. Love doing these.
Thanks. Yeah, we didn't have any plan like this, and it's been a long time since we did our last ones too. So I think we kind of broke the record for we got 14 likes. I think we got up to 15 people in one consecutive time. So I think we might sort of slowly end it here. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a good time.
And actually, it's still a reasonable time here in Moscow too. It's 9:35 here p.m. So this has actually worked out nice with the time on the East Coast. For you guys on the West East Coast, right? So
yeah, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I said about noon Eastern time, because this way it's not too early on the West Coast, being 3 hours behind us. So, but no, this was fun. It's a good time, and always love it. And hopefully we'll somewhere along the line get to see you on board again.
Yeah. So all I got to do now is just wait for the phone from the immigration, I guess, department for me to go there with my passport to get the Russian residency visa. We're not sure if they put actually something in the passport or they stamp it. We don't know what they do yet. But the funny thing is the actual office for it was literally the building next to the Australian embassy. It's practically the next building from all the embassies in Moscow center tend to be in one little area, like all the different world embassies.
Right.
And the migration office where you can do your visas and different things and residencies, you could look out the window and see the Australian building, which is kind of very strange. But otherwise, I've not really been going out as much as I was before. I used to go out every day to Moscow. I've been staying home so much more. I went out to buy this microphone last week, but I'm really stay at home too much now. But I've got this amazing setup here. I don't have to go anywhere. So how many days is still your next cruise?
27. 27.
Oh, okay. And then that's Port Canaveral. So you're going to fly down to Orlando.
Yeah, fly down to Orlando on the Friday before, spend the night there, get together with some friends for dinner Friday night, and then Saturday we'll be on the ship.
So how do you normally get to the ship? Do you do Uber or something, or?
No, actually, the one thing I love about Port Canaveral is they have rental car facilities there. So I rent a car at Orlando Airport, and I can return it right at the port and just take their shuttle bus over to the ship, which is like a mile away.
Right. So you don't. Okay. So you stay in Orlando at a hotel by the airport. Oh, in Orlando, I guess.
Yeah,
Versus going to Port Canaveral.
Sometimes I stay in Cocoa Beach. It just depends, This time I think we're staying down by Melbourne because after I land, Christy is flying in. I'm picking her up at Melbourne Airport, and then we're going out to a really cool Irish pub down there in Melbourne for dinner the night before.
Oh, nice. And then hopefully there's no issue with the shuttle launches. You know about that from last week, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
SpaceX. They didn't actually mention any. It was completely not talked about. I mean, they've been doing launches for what, 20, 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
And it wasn't an issue till last week.
I know. How funny is
that? Okay, so I'm going to say thanks to everybody for watching. All of the current people who are live now, whoever's come and gone. I hope you learned something from the live stream here with Neil. And thanks, Neil, for being on the stream with me.
Thank you again, Russell. You take care of yourself over there, and we'll talk to you soon.
No worries. And everybody else in the chat, particularly everybody at Steve. Sorry, I'm looking at Steve's name. Bahia, Christy, Edward. We had Daryl a little bit earlier, Scott, Barry, and whoever else maybe didn't mention any comments. So yeah, I'll say end the stream here, and I'll catch everybody later. Thanks everybody for watching I Like Cruise Ships from Pennsylvania and Moscow, Russia. Bye everybody.